Yes, that is exactly right. My idol is Asmongold. Now, obviously, Asmongold is a very unique idol to have, right? I mean, many people don't idolize him. Actually, many people hate him, right? But I idolize him, and I idolize him not for his bad sides, not for the negative things, but for the positive things, which I think he has more than most people, right? Now, what are his positives and what are his negatives? Now, this is again my opinion, right? Everybody has a subjective or objective opinion of what is kind of negative, what is positive in a person's life. But in my opinion, his negatives are his health, his attitude towards that, right? The lack of exercise, right? The very unhealthy eating habits, right? I mean, fast food and stuff like that, and cola and disregard for health in general. That's kind of physical health, right? His mental health in my opinion is pretty good, right? But physical not so much, right? So that's one of his negatives, right? His environment, his room is pretty dirty, right? So that's one thing I would not want to idolize. But if it happens to me, then it just happens to me, because I'm not gonna i'm I'm a pretty lazy person. I don't really care about how clean the room is. As long as I can get up, I can play a good game or watch a good movie. I really don't care about the trash or something, right? So that's a bit of on his negatives, but on his positives, there's much more to speak about. Much more to talk about. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is his mindset and approach towards life, right? And his mindset and approach towards life is very healthy, in my opinion, because he is not trying to be somebody else, right? He is not attempting to impress anybody else. What he is doing is exactly what he wants to be doing. And that's something that I see a lot of people struggling with. And I also struggled with that until I started changing that. And and yeah, basically he just lives life really the way he wants to, and his career supports that decision. That's also kind of one of the reasons I'm trying to do YouTube, is because if I become successful with YouTube and stuff like that, I will be able to do exactly what he's doing and live the life I want. Right now, a lot of people would say that his humility is a good positive thing, and I agree. Right, his he is not corrupted by money. He has a lot of money, but he has not allowed that money to corrupt himself, which is, in my opinion, one of the greatest feats of human self control that there is. Right, when you have a lot of money and you just don't buy things just for the sake of making yourself happier, right? He has found the perfect equilibrium of what makes him happy and how much money he needs for that. I think he said this in a video, right? And I think that's it, what I'm about to say is very true. It's that it's more satisfying to have the ability to buy something rather than actually buying it. So, for example, if you're a millionaire, it's much more satisfying knowing that you can buy a Lamborghini instead of actually going through the trouble of buying a Lamborghini, then caring for it, getting stressed about any little scratches, stuff like that. So yeah, basically having the ability, but not actually exercising that ability unless you really, really need to. And so money, that's kind of one thing I really want to kind of idolize his career, right? YouTube. And speaking about YouTube, I think he has a great kind of relationship in regards to the content he makes. I think it's really hard online, especially. I mean, I've been a creator for about a year now, right? And I have found it very difficult to find a content style and type that really aligns with what I would want to make each and every day. I tried making different types of content and it was really hard. And for me personally, just like him, the content that I like making is sharing my opinions, right? I think it's very important to, in my opinion, share my ideas and thoughts, get it all out into the world and receive at least some sort of feedback, right? Because I think people, they don't talk about a lot of things. They are afraid of expressing, stories, stuff like that, and it just goes unsaid. But anyway, I really admire his kind of ability to simply sit down, speak about something, be honest. He is not fake. That's another thing that I really idolize is that he is not a fake internet personality. Now, obviously, there is a level of parasocial relationship to any internet personality, even me, even him, right? Obviously, the person when that person turns off the camera is a different person, right? I mean, it's the difference, like how you act when you're with your grandma and how you act when you're with your friends or classmates, right? So it's a completely different. You're still the same person, but you act a bit differently. Depends really on the person, but usually you act differently. But I think that he is much more honest than most creators in terms of who he is, and obviously, if a lot of people they get exposed, like somebody on Twitter shares some sort of thing, like, "Oh, look at what this creator said in private messages," and everybody's like, "Oh no, oh my god, this is so crazy." Believe me, a lot of things that other people get hate on, if Asmongold did, nobody would care, right? Because I mean, he's honest. He has no like this. He's not like a freedom fighter, right? I mean, usually just more of a guy in his room talking about stuff. So yeah, so I really idolize his content. I idolize his lifestyle. Obviously, not the bad parts of his lifestyle. I wouldn't idolize the part where he used to stream and break his teeth with pliers to so the teeth won't hurt. But I idolize that ability of not having any responsibilities, right? And I think that in our modern world, people are too stressed. They think that the world is the way it is, and they cannot do single thing about it. And I think Asmongold, he kind of takes that and says, no, the world can be a bit different, right? And obviously, being a content creator and actually making money with that, it's especially like he is doing, it's very rare. It's a very hard thing to achieve, but as Technoblade said, shoot for the stars, no matter the odds, and if you shoot for the stars, you might fall. Worst case scenario, you fall on the moon. Stuff like something like that. But yeah, in general, I just really idolize his lifestyle content, and I already said all of this. But now obviously, Asmongold has a completely different life situation than me, right? I mean, our life situations are completely different, right? And I would say I'm much luckier, right, than he is in terms of family and uh, life in general. So I obviously can't try and be like him or idolize everything he does because I think a lot of things that he does, right, a lot of his negatives come from different life circumstances, right, as opposed to what I have. So I think I need to kind of be appreciate the position that where I am at, right, and kind of not kind of throw it away just because some other person lives differently, right? So I think, yeah, just be true to myself. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, I know, like idolizing a man that is generally hated by a lot of people, but also loved. I mean, he is quite popular and he isn't too hated. Like there are individuals who hate him, but those individuals are just very loud, right? But he's just a great guy. I think he is one of the best content creators on the platform. He to me is right up there with Charlie, most critical, which I also kind of idolize, but not so much. Mostly due to the difference in lifestyle, right? Because Asmongold sits in his room all day, and that's what I like to do. I don't like to go outside. I mean, let's be honest, I don't like to go outside at all. So sitting in my room, that's one of the things that I really was like, hey, I like doing that too. That kind of I would say neat lifestyle, but not so much. So yeah. I also know that he watches a lot of small creators. So if he's watching this, right, then hey, uh, it's a great honor to be able to say something to you, right? But just thank you for the inspiration, right? It inspired me a lot, especially in my content creation journey. I wouldn't make videos if it wasn't for Asmongold. I'm gonna be honest, right? Because you can get inspired by a lot of creators like Mr. Beast and other creators, but the creators that inspire you the most are the creators that create content that you want to make. And he is his content that I love the most is his Zach Rar channel, where he just takes a camera, puts that camera, up towards a box and just speaks his mind about something. And that's what I love to do too. Like I don't know, I don't like scripts. Mostly because I'm lazy and I don't like writing scripts, but I think it's also important to have the ability to improvise, right? To have the ability to just kind of have that mental capacity to sit down and speak without reading off of a list, off of some sort of text. I think that's a very important thing to learn. I think yeah, it's something you'll learn. That's why I have huge respect for people who can speak for an hour, for people who make speeches without any kind of like I'm doing right now, like holding up and saying and stuff like that. All right, I'm getting way off track. So yeah, Asmongold's my idol. Obviously, he's one of my idols. I have other idols. I don't think idols are that important, but what I'm trying to say is that I'm trying to idolize his best qualities, and those are a lot. They his best qualities are, I think, overshadow his bad qualities like by a lot. Also, yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was coherent. I hope this video was inspiring. Maybe you haven't seen Asmongold's content. Definitely check it out. Right? I mean, lately he's become just a news channel. Right? That's something I don't necessarily like. Right? Just reacting to an hour-long presidential speech, which is like, I mean, it's okay. Personally, wouldn't do that, but you know. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you liked the video. If you enjoyed it, dislike it if you dislike it, and goodbye. Have a good one.